not give answers, they provoke questions. I'm Marta Santos from Caixa 1515, and this is Clear Talks. Thank you, Paola, Danielle, Stefan, Leila, for being here, and thank you for participating. I have questions for you. So the first question is, which activities work best to introduce complex topics like disinformation?
I would say the best activities to introduce this kind of complex is to have like a short brainstorming. At the end, they are complex, and sometimes people don't get really the full idea of what it is. So I think is, as we have done here, sometimes is to have like a brainstorming of concepts, just to get everyone in the same framework that we understand all what the topic is all about.
Okay, well, I guess that, as Paula said, for example, the misinformation is a complex topic. So I think that, first of all, it could not be just theory. You have to put some examples about the topic, like because if you just say the theory, some people would not understand. And also, I think that you have to take one attractive approach, because if you don't take, people will not get interest in the topic that you want to teach, and of course they will not pay attention and they will not be attracted to listen to you. So I think that you have to do something different that people are used to receive.
Okay. Do you want to give an example of a topic?
About misinformation. For example, if you are just saying misinformation we have in the whole world, but if you don't show, for example, 2 or 3 fake news and some experience or some examples, I think that it's something that you could say and it could not be true. So I think that's what we did in the project.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Stefan?
Yeah, thank you. It's a good example. Because, in this experience, try to understand better about this information. But it's important also to make small groups, because for practical seasons, it's more easy because the people have the possibility to take action like a real way, because in a big group it's more difficult for everybody participate and understand better the concepts. And I think it's good, because now it's only a normal season or also a boring class because the people have a role in this type of practical and theoretical seasons, and it's good for everybody. And with real examples, it's important about fake news, because the impact is more. For example, in my university, make a presentation and take different news and one fake, and the people need to think about what is the fake and why, for example.
I agree with all of them, and I need to say that I think that the best activities that you can make with the students can be like role plays or analysis or some kind of games, for them to be like more practical and to be active in the learning, not to be just passive learning, because it's very boring for them. So I think this is the best option.
Great. Thank you, Leila. Thank you very much. How can the clear methods be adapted to schools or youth centers?
I think it's a bit complicated nowadays. I think it will require a lot of time, because nowadays Clear use non-educational methods and schools use educational, and it's really complicated now to like mix them together. But I would really say it's really hard for students, even for us, although it's to spend like 8 hours sitting in a chair. I think it will require more about movements and some kind of games. Even the other day we made a game, and then Xiao asked us what did we learn from it, and I think it's a really good way just to get them stand up, be some kind of active, and have like the real situationship that they can really learn, and then they can have like some kind of involvement to each other, just to have this common ground to speak to each other and not just to be silent during 8 hours just listening. I think it would be just a great way to, not in all subjects, but in some of them, I think it would be a really good idea.
Like a dialogue.
Yeah, be allowed to dialogue, yeah.
Well, as Paula said, I think the same, but this, I think that is not going to happen until maybe a few years, because I also think that for the government, it's not like a priority, like to change the education. And as you can see, when our parents was childs, the things are still being the same. So I think that anyway, it has to be a mix of like non-formal doing different things and theoretical, because anyway theoretical lesson helps you, but not every lesson. But that's why I am saying that has to be mixed. And I also think that we in Europe we don't like to change, like we are a little bit conservative in these things, because I think that in Japan they use another educational system that one child from 4 or 5 years, he just focus on what he wants to be in as an adult. And I think that this is also a different approach, that I think that's how you manage better the education for a child, but also it's more complicated. And I think that's why the reason, because they don't want to change, because it's easier to go to a class, get a lesson, go back to your home, make your lessons, and go the next day. So that's easy to manage. But if you have to focus in every child and prepare him or her for what he wants to be, it's harder.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that if the professors that teach the theoretic that prefer the theoretic classes, if they brought examples from the present and discuss it in the context of the discipline?
Okay, from my experience and from my point of view, at least in Spain, I can also say in Romania the same, because I am from Romania and it's the same. For a teacher, it's easy to go to a class and to repeat and say, guys, you have to do this, and that's enough. Because in Spain, I have to criticize also the teachers, because some are good in this job, but others are not good. So they just teach because they don't have, like, they have to work, and this is like one work that I think they didn't like, but they do the things in a easy approach, like, guys, do lessons, homeworks, and that's all. Like, and they don't put interest in the development of the child. So that's what I criticize.
They should be more proactive. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Stefan, what do you think?
Okay, interesting about the teachers. But just now, thanks to your apportation, I think in a special teacher, unusual teacher, with different methods. And maybe after this project, I speak with this teacher about the project, the dynamics, because, yeah, it's unusual, because the teacher before the seasons try to find different methods, more innovation, and make a non-formal seasons every days, thinking new things, and also the subject no it's new. The subject is the same 10 years before or yesterday, but you can change the dynamics for take the control of the information, the theory part, and make activities. It's possible, but yes, need to think, and it's more work, but you can enjoy the process. I think so. I'm not teacher, but I have contact with this teacher in my experience, and it's good. You can make things, but depends. Maybe not for every days, but try to find maybe a professional which information about something with relation to the subject, and maybe the professional can go to the school for one day and like the experience, and it's possible. You only need to think a little about that, because the clear methods are flexible. It's good. For example, now I think in my city, it's possible apply in a youth center, because after school make activities, and I think, for example, to make a work cafe, it's good idea maybe, because the dialogues, Paula, you know, the dialogues is okay. I think the adolescents, or yeah, more or less for this type of age, it's interesting and we can enjoy, me and the people. Yeah, only need to think and after start the process to, okay, I have this information about this topic, about this subject, and yeah.
You come from Spain, all of you. Do you think that in Spain teachers could use some more formation or classes about literacy, media literacy, or some this kind of subjects?
Yeah, the problem is
because I can feel
the
that
rule from
you have a very classical model. Yes.
The problem is the rule, because the teacher need to follow one rule,
yes,
and can make change, but have rules. I think it's the same from the government, and need to make the job. It's hard for this way, but in the primary school, or
yes,
I have a sister in the primary school, no is so no is so okay with the system, with this topic.
Okay. Because here in Portugal, for instance, we have this. Our government implement the discipline that is citizenship,
Yeah.
and the media literacy is part of this discipline. So the teachers have some formation about or information about the subject.
Yeah, maybe it's also depends the direction of the school. Maybe for take action about the government rules.
Yeah, Leila.
Well, I think that nowadays is a very difficult challenge we are having as society, because I think there is no one willing to change nothing, like not the teachers and also not the children, because they are used to this kind of methods. But I think that something that could help, it can be like workshops, or making the kids to be more creative, and making them to think by their own. And I think this will help us to make the difference with the education.
Okay, because I think something good must be happening, because you are educated on that system, and you are here with us, so you have a critical opinion. So that is the first start. Okay, so what advice would you give to someone starting this kind of work, Paola?
If we are talking about media literacy, if they want to stand to learn about or teach about this kind of topic, I would say to use some current resources. Sometimes I feel when it comes to teaching, as we have previously said, is quite antique or really classic methods. At the end, if you take the current methods that teenagers use to be involved in society, such as TikTok or even just clickbaits that a lot of news use, like I don't know, it could be like something with a politician, the Pope wearing a coat or these kind of things. They will be really interested in because they get to know this topic, and they get to know the difference between what's really about the topic. And I think I would give this kind of advice: stop using like the classical methods and start thinking about what teenagers used to be involved in the rest of the world.
Well, first of all, I think you have to be brave, because if you are not brave, you will not be able to start. Secondly, I will say that if you don't have the enough researches, or you are lost how to implement, you have to ask for help, because I think that in Europe maybe you could, like there is association, a lot of things, and I think also there is a website from European Union where you could see workshops or something like that, where you could find more ideas. And I think that now, at least in the European Union, we have a lot of searches for every topic, and having that, I think that is an excuse if you say that you don't know how to start. And also, for example, in high school, I think it's harder to do this, because, you know, as you are growing, like the lessons are getting more harder, and you have to pass this, because in the primary maybe you could do more these things, but the children are not mentally ready. So I think that it's always you pass like the next day, the next year, and when you realized like the children are not more in the high school, and like they learn for themselves. So that's what I think.
Okay. Do you in Spain have in schools community activities that are with experts, like involved with the community?
Like in Spain, people, like from my point of view, we prefer like we are not in this mood of European like activities, these kind of things, because it's like for us it's something that I think that also we are afraid, like, because it's something new, and if no one explains you as the project, like you don't want to go, or you say at least like if I will not go, I will study 2 hours or something like that. So I think that we don't go by this reason, and also because there is a lack of information, at least in Spain. And I think it's also our culture, because how can I say, I think that we have another important things to do, and also because Spanish, we are always living running, like,
Yes.
it's always a chaos. So I think that this is one reason, because we don't participate actively in these things, I think.
Okay. Here in Portugal, we say that schools are good not only for study, but to do better citizens. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, of course, because like you have to share time with more people, and like some things that I learned in the school I use now. So I think that it's helpful for citizenship and.
Stefan.
Okay.
What
Good
do you
point of
think?
view. Good point of view. Yeah, have a lot of things, a lot of concepts, but yeah, maybe if you try to start like with something small, maybe you after work, day by day, maybe you after you are an expert. Why not? With only in one method or something about that. And for the process, I think it's important to listen the young people because in some works, in my experience, the more old people in the government, in the local government, don't like to listen me or listen other young people for some questions, and yeah, it's hard because the young people is part of the present and
Of the
for
future,
the future,
yes, very
and
important.
why not
Yes.
listen? If you pay attention, maybe it's more easy for you for the people to change some things about media or because if you listen, maybe you find what type of media it's more important to focus for implement methods or dynamics. It's interesting. Yeah, it's important to try and little by little
Yes,
make
try to change
actions.
things, yes.
Yeah.
Because in this question, we have been talking only about schools, but they're also the part of the youth centers.
Yeah.
So maybe it's easier. Maybe it's more not so strict, more light to start new ideas and start new works and new activities that goes for citizenship and literacy media. I think I don't know.
Yes, because in the schools the rules are different and have teachers but have coordinators and have it's also a process. You need to find the route for the
But yes, but at your region, for instance, there is
Yeah.
some youth forums, some organizations, some associations where you can speak and say what you think about about the problems of that the youth thinks about the region. I don't know.
Yeah, in my region, for example, have students associations, but no associations which focus on media right
Okay.
now, for example. But I think in your cities maybe it's different. In Madrid, for sure, have. Or maybe you don't know, but it's different because my city is so small and yeah, have 2 universities and no more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's something to change.
Sí.
Leonora. Sorry, later.
Later.
Pardon me. Later.
Well, my advice is like maybe learn something about artificial intelligence, because I think this, and also what Paula has said before, like social media or things that young people are involved and they want to know about this, is a really good way to reach the young people and to get them to be interested on their topic. So I think it's this my advice, and that's all.
Okay. Thank you for your participation. When methods meet creativity, learning becomes movement. This episode of Clear Talks was created by CAIS 1515 as a part of Clear, an European training course on media literacy and youth work, co-founded, many letters, many words, co-founded by the European Union through Erasmus Plus, managed in Portugal by the Agência Nacional Erasmus+, Juventude em Ação. Thank you very much.
1, 2, 3, 4.